Hey guys, welcome back to another video here. This is Pedro Fame. I got a video in store for you guys today, football related. So we're going to talk about the top 5 quarterback, or top 6, I'll do 6 quarterbacks for the upcoming college football season for you. And this is all based off of my analysis, and I have seen highlight tapes and film of these guys, and I will be doing a analysis of each one of these soon as well. I know it's been a while since I did a video, but I want to go ahead and do one. That's because I've been doing a lot of work, and I've actually been putting in work for other items that you guys are going to see down the road. But first quarterback I want to go ahead and get off the board, number 6. And this guy is Carson Strong. I loved his tape at Nevada, seeing his highlights, seeing the way he hooked up with Dobbs for that amazing amount of touchdowns. I think he Dobbs had like 11 of his touchdowns, if I'm not wrong, 27 or 29 touchdowns this past season for Nevada, over 3,000 yards passing. Absolutely fantastic season for him, and he is likely to hear his name called next year in the NFL draft. I would say right now he's a day 2 pick for me. I would say probably late 2nd to the late 3rd is his range. He, depending on how this year goes, he can slide down to the 4th round, or he can move himself up into the 2nd round. I don't think there's a way he moves into the 1st round unless it's like a Joe Burrow type season, and that's just to get into the 1st round. I don't really see Nevada quarterback being able to do that unless they're going undefeated or something. But I see him as a day 2 pick and an absolutely solid quarterback for a team. He does need to clean up some of his throwing mechanics. Some of his throwing mechanics are very odd and wonky. He doesn't place the ball accurately a lot of times. He does have some spectacular throws where he just has the velocity there. Some of the other times, though, he did lack in some categories, and I don't know if he was just reading the defense wrong or anything like that, but there were times where he didn't have, to me, the best throwing motion and the best footwork at times. He doesn't always keep his cleats down when he's throwing it deep. He lifts off, and there's a weird motion, and the ball ends up a little twirling in the air till the wide receiver has to go down and catch it, or the ball has to stop, or the wide receiver starts to stop his route and get it. So it's a little bit of that, and it's really annoying as a wide receiver. It's really annoying as an offensive coordinator doing that, because you're stopping potential yardage and points potentially on the board when you do that. So that's just some things he needs to clean up. But overall, I do like his game. Next quarterback is going to be Coral out of Ole Miss. He, to me, with Lane Kiffin, can be special. I could see him being, I have right now him, same category that I have Carson Strong, late 2nd to late 3rd. Day 2 pick for sure. I don't know if he could get into the 1st round. He did have 5 interceptions in the game last year. I hated that game for him, and I also hated some of his other games. He really struggled in some of these games, but the games that he did play well, Alabama was one of them. To me, that made him above Carson Strong, because the level of competition that Matt Corral faced was a lot harder, a lot stronger, and he was still able to put up points and do a really good job at making sure that his passes were good. Still needs to clean up his decision making. His decision making is not great right now. It's very not poor, but below average. So it needs to clean that up. Needs to clean up his release as well. And his arm strength is pretty good. I would say closer to average than really good, but still an NFL quarterback arm. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into number 4, which for me is JT Daniels. I like JT Daniels a lot out of Georgia. His issues for me is why did it take him so long to start for Georgia and the limited amount of games he played for the Dogs. So his film was very short. I did go back and see USC film, but the offenses were really different, so it kind of made it hard to pinpoint exactly how good JT Daniels was and how the schemes and how certain routes were supposed to go. Because at Georgia, they're more pro routes, but a lot of running, where USC was more happy throwing the football, but there's a lot of sloppiness by the wide receiver, so I couldn't really tell too much. So this is really dependent on this year's upcoming film, and hopefully his team gets better. Hopefully Darnell Washington gets a lot of touches. He needs that tight end desperately bad if he wants to go and win a national championship at Georgia this year. I don't think it's going to happen. Georgia's just not good enough to me, especially with not enough wide receiver help. I think it's just going to be really, really hard, and especially when they lost 2 corners to the NFL, especially Stokes. So and Tiger Campbell. I don't know how they're going to figure that out, but hopefully they do figure it out here to at least get JT Daniels in the playoffs. I mean, he's going to do his best, but I'm really hoping that I can see a better decision-making JT Daniels moving forward. My third quarterback is going to be Kiffin Slovis out of USC. JT Daniels is a late first, early second round pick for me. So he could be day one, could be early day two. But for Kiffin Slovis, for me, he is mid first to late first, depending on how the season goes. He did a tremendous job in relief of JT Daniels when JT Daniels got hurt. He absolutely balled out. He played well last year as well. He played well early, not really down the stretch. He was very all over the place, and I think that was due to COVID really hurting the Pac-12 season and it starting so late, and it was really messy for Kiffin Slovis. I hope this year will be a lot better. I do like a lot of stuff that he does do. He reminds me a lot of Sam Darnold, just with a little bit more mobility, and I love his arm. I think his arm is probably one of the best out there for sure. So I'm hoping that he cleans up some of his work, especially when it comes to throwing interceptions. He needs to pick that off. Number 2 is going to be, for me, Spencer Rattler. I love Spencer Rattler. I think he's a great quarterback in college, and I think he's only going to get better this season. He had a lot of bad games early on, and that's what made me pick him number 2, was because he had way too many games bad early for me to put him at number 1 over a guy who was consistent from start to finish freshman year and sophomore year. So that's why Spencer Rattler for me, and his limited film. So I'm hoping this year he does improve his decision making and get better at knowing when the pressure's coming, because I think that's something that he lacks, is great presence in the pocket when it comes to knowing when the pocket's about to collapse. And also he needs to hopefully he does a lot better with Marvin Mims, because I think he did leave some yardage on the field for him. So hopefully he cleans that up as well. Number 1 is Sam Howell. Love this kid. I think he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. If not number 1, number 2. It depends how this draft comes out. Depends how good Sam Howell is if he's going to go number 1 or not. But I have him early in the draft. Same thing with Spencer Rattler, earlier in the draft, top 5, both of them. I think they're absolutely spectacular. I love Sam Howell's ability. His arm strength is insane. Great at reading. Sometimes makes poor decisions. He does need to clean that up, especially when it comes to screens, and when he does his slants, he does tend to pick the wrong wide receiver to throw to. I don't like the fact that he's always in the shotgun. Kind of throws me off. I want to see him a little bit under center sometimes. I know they had 2 great running backs, but that's why he should have been under center a little bit more. I don't understand that whole always in the shotgun thing. I don't know if his offensive line was really bad. I saw a couple times where his offensive line wasn't like the best, but still didn't understand why he wasn't under center more. So I'll be looking to see that in Mac Brown's offense coming up here for the season. So those are my top 6 quarterbacks. Willis out of Liberty for Hugh Freeze. I think that's his name. He was in my consideration. Grayson McCall, Dylan Gabriel were all were notable for me for this upcoming years, obviously for the draft and things like that. I'll talk about DJ Ugalele and Bryce Young in a later video for you guys. Those are the 2 I have for the following year. I'm going to be 1 and 2, I believe, in the draft. So stay tuned. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.